The book that teaches you to stop fighting yourself. Radical Acceptance, Tara Brach. Why do so many people spend their entire lives believing they are not good enough? They work harder, achieve more, and seek approval from others, hoping that one day they will finally feel complete. Yet no matter how much they accomplish, the feeling never fully disappears. In Radical Acceptance, Tara Brach argues that this endless struggle begins with one simple belief: the idea that something is fundamentally wrong with us. The path to lasting peace, she says, does not begin with becoming someone else. It begins with accepting who we already are. Many people believe that self-improvement is the key to happiness. They constantly search for ways to become more successful, more attractive, more productive, or more confident. While growth is valuable, Tara Brach suggests that this endless pursuit often hides a deeper problem. Instead of improving because they genuinely want to grow, many people are trying to escape the painful belief that they are somehow incomplete. This quiet feeling of deficiency shapes countless decisions throughout life. People stay in unhealthy relationships because they believe they do not deserve better. They overwork because they think their value depends on achievement. They avoid taking risks because they fear failure will confirm their deepest insecurities. Even moments of success often bring only temporary relief before the mind finds another reason to criticize itself. Brach calls this emotional pattern the trance of unworthiness. Like a dream that people do not realize they are dreaming, this trance convinces them that happiness always lies somewhere in the future. If only they looked different, earned more money, found the perfect partner, or became more accomplished, then they would finally be enough. The tragedy is that the finish line keeps moving. Every achievement creates another standard to reach. Every success creates another fear of losing it. Instead of experiencing freedom, people become trapped in a cycle of constant self-evaluation. According to Brach, the first step toward breaking this cycle is recognizing that the struggle itself has become part of the problem. Much of human suffering does not come from pain alone. It comes from resisting pain, judging it, and believing that difficult emotions should not exist. When sadness appears, people tell themselves they should be stronger. When anxiety appears, they assume something is wrong with them. When anger arises, they feel guilty for experiencing it. The original emotion may last only a short time, but the resistance surrounding it can continue for years. This is where the concept of radical acceptance enters the book. Acceptance is often misunderstood as giving up or approving of difficult circumstances. Brach makes it clear that this is not what she means. Radical acceptance does not require liking pain or refusing to improve your life. It simply means acknowledging reality instead of fighting against it. If you are grieving, acceptance means allowing yourself to recognize that grief is present. If you are afraid, acceptance means admitting that fear exists instead of pretending it does not. Only by honestly facing reality can meaningful change begin. One of the book's most powerful ideas is that emotions are temporary experiences rather than permanent identities. People often become so attached to their thoughts and feelings that they mistake them for who they are. A person thinks, "I am a failure," and begins living as though it were an objective fact. Another thinks, "No one will ever love me," and interprets every experience through that belief. Brach encourages readers to step back and observe these thoughts instead of automatically believing them. Thoughts are events in the mind. They are not always accurate descriptions of reality. By creating this small distance, people gain freedom. They stop reacting automatically and begin responding consciously. Mindfulness plays a central role throughout the book because awareness creates the space where transformation becomes possible. Instead of rushing to escape discomfort, Brach teaches readers to pause, breathe, and simply notice what is happening inside them. This practice can feel surprisingly difficult. Many people have spent years distracting themselves from uncomfortable emotions through work, entertainment, food, social media, or constant busyness. Silence often feels uncomfortable because it brings hidden emotions to the surface. Yet Brach argues that healing begins precisely in those moments of honest attention. Another important lesson concerns self-compassion. Most people speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to someone they love. They criticize every mistake, magnify every weakness, and constantly compare themselves to impossible standards. Over time, this inner criticism becomes so familiar that it sounds like truth. Brach invites readers to replace judgment with curiosity. Instead of asking, "What is wrong with me?" she encourages asking, "What am I experiencing right now?" This small shift changes everything. Curiosity opens the door to understanding. Judgment closes it. The book also explores relationships, explaining that people cannot truly connect with others while constantly rejecting themselves. When someone believes they are fundamentally flawed, they often seek relationships primarily for validation. They become afraid of rejection, overly dependent on approval, or unwilling to show vulnerability. Real intimacy becomes possible only when people stop hiding from themselves. The more we accept our own imperfections, the less we need to pretend to be someone else. This creates relationships built on honesty rather than performance. Brach also emphasizes that acceptance and action are not opposites. Many people worry that accepting themselves means abandoning ambition or personal growth. In reality, the opposite is often true. When people stop wasting energy fighting themselves, they have far more energy available for meaningful change. Growth rooted in self-hatred usually creates exhaustion. Growth rooted in self-acceptance creates freedom. As the book progresses, another insight becomes increasingly clear. Every human being experiences pain, uncertainty, disappointment, and fear. Suffering is not evidence that you are broken. It is evidence that you are alive. The desire to avoid vulnerability often becomes the source of even greater suffering because it disconnects people from themselves and from others. Radical acceptance does not promise a life without pain. It offers something more valuable. It offers the ability to experience pain without allowing it to define your identity. Toward the end of the book, Brach encourages readers to recognize that peace is not something that must be earned. It is not waiting at the end of a perfect career, a perfect relationship, or a perfect version of yourself. Peace becomes available the moment you stop making war with your own experience. This does not happen overnight. It is a practice rather than a destination. Each moment of awareness, each act of compassion, and each decision to meet yourself with kindness instead of criticism gradually weakens the belief that you are not enough. By the end of Radical Acceptance, the reader is left with a message that feels both simple and deeply transformative. You do not have to become someone different before you deserve love, peace, or happiness. The greatest obstacle has never been your imperfections. It has been the belief that those imperfections make you unworthy. The moment you stop fighting yourself, you create space for genuine healing. And from that place of acceptance, real growth becomes possible, not because you finally become enough, but because you discover that you always were.